Well, guys, let's welcome Peanut of 311 to New Pod here on KNOTFEST.com. Peanut, man, it is an absolute honor to have you on the show, man.
Oh, it's my honor. I'm happy to be here.
This is a very new metal tinged show, and I believe that 311, looking back in the history, you guys are almost like a forefather or like a predecessor to the kind of the new metal movement back in the day.
We can speak many dialects musically, and metal has always been one, and we've always been kind of trying to be, moving the pieces on the board and pushing the needle. So the metal elements are going to be progressive, so in that new metal world, I can see that existing.
Right.
But there's people challenging me online, like on Twitter, which it's still called, and it's like, is 311 new metal?
Yeah.
And we're not any one thing, but we definitely contain those elements, I think, or we have them, and we can satiate that crowd. We can rock whomever.
Yeah, I mean, I think, obviously the DJ element, the two-singer element, I mean, a lot of that stuff you guys were doing way back in the day,
right?
We're kind of like people picked up on it and kind of ran with.
Yeah, and whatever, like the term has been sullied in ways and elevated in ways, like, take it back. It's just another way of saying like hybrid music. It's heavy metal people that grew up listening to everything,
right?
Or it's people that listen to everything that also love metal. It goes lots of different ways. So
looking back, I mean,
wear it like a badge of honor.
Right. What was kind of the stuff you were listening to at the time? Getting the band together to kind of create that sound.
I mean, growing up, it was Metallica and Iron Maiden, especially as bass influences, and then kind of carrying that through, falling in love with the Chili Peppers and Fishbone and all that. Like, that never went away.
Right.
I never, I had a friend that at one point, when he decided that he was punk rock and he wasn't heavy metal anymore,
right.
He literally took all of his albums, which would be worth fucking thousands right now, and lawnmowered them on his front lawn.
Wow.
And I remember it distinctly and being like, wow, why are you doing that? Like, you're just throwing that all away? Like, you can come back to it another time, but whatever, people got to do what they got to do. I shave my head for things like that. You start fresh, one way or the other. So I don't know. We love metal. I think I contain that element more than anybody in the band. So this is the right interview to have. But yeah, I think it's something that I don't know that in the live atmosphere is really potent. Like you see Slipknot play in front of 50,000 people in Mexico City, and when they turn it on, they put the foot on the accelerator, musically speaking, it's going to do something more than any other, genre can do as far as movement and energy and getting all that emotion out, coming together and then having a release on such a potent level. I don't know, metal does it better than anybody.
So kind of talking about your influences, obviously Steve Harris, early Cliff Burton, I'm assuming, just kind of diving into that and metal being such a guitar-driven genre, and you get those guys like Cliff, you get those guys like even Dave Ellefson or Steve Harris, things like that, just kind of taking the reins and really like, oh, what is that noise in the background? Like a Call of Cthulhu, like those growls, and like, what's Cliff doing there, man?
Oh, Cliff got robbed. I mean, but yeah, it's so nice to hear like a remaster or a bass up version as we're being able to manipulate old tracks now to be able to hear him, and then go online and see people take apart the lines and be able to play them, one-to-one, sitting down with my kids. So much fun. It's like, here's Metallica, guys, and and there was this legend of a person and player in Cliff Burton, and watch what he did. He was solving the problem of like lead bass. That's what he was doing. He would play the song and then he would step out, and when he would step out, he would do it in such a melodic way that he was untouchable. Still is.
So kind of looking back on some of those, looking back on 311 period, over 30 years now. I mean, that's insanity. I mean, how is it for you to like really realize that 30 years into this, we're still, high up on the bill and people are still coming out, and 311 day and every, 311 cruises and everything else going on?
Yeah, I mean, it's the audience.
Yeah.
We've kept our sanity. That's one thing. And we still enjoy doing what we're doing. That's it. But I think it has everything to do with the people that come together and having opportunities like this, and then the cruise and 311 day is just like cherries on top. Those are total victory laps. But 33 years into it, kind of all of it's like a victory lap
Right.
at this point, being able to still maintain any kind of attention and still want to make new music and making good management moves by having Corey running our show. It's just great. You never know what's going to happen if you're lucky enough to stick around for a long time. And we're forever in that world, and we'll forever be thankful to fly that flag because we've been allowed to exist for way longer than anyone would have ever thought.
Yeah, I was kind of falling down the 311 rabbit hole of like times I've seen the band in the 90s,
Cool.
and it was like 311 with No Doubt, 311 with Deftones. I mean, there were so many great shows back there, and we'll kind of bring it back around to the new metal thing, like going out with the Deftones when they were a baby band, and just kind of seeing those guys, what they became. How was that for you guys?
Oh yeah, I mean we played with the Deftones and Korn, first iteration of all the bands, honestly, in San Diego, at Soma, right? Or is that Orange County, wherever it is? But I remember distinctly, I had already been enjoying the Deftones for however I ran into them and loved them, and I hadn't seen or heard of Korn before. And when I saw, them come off stage like upset, Jonathan was visibly upset.
Right.
He was like crying, and it was like make a hole, and it was just like, wow, this is real. Like this is not just, we're gonna come out and have fun. It was like we've got something to say, and it's heavy. It's gonna hurt a little bit. And I was like, okay, let's see what these guys do next. And yeah, Deftones is like one of my favorite bands ever. Rest in peace, Chi. Forever doing good music. They did Sergio wrong. I'll go on record saying that is fucked up. You got to make a legend like that a band member.
Yeah.
But I don't know the inner politics at the same time. It just seems super fucked up on the outside. But much success to them. I love the way that they tour internationally, like Slipknot. It's like, holy shit,
right.
It's Ramones style, right? You guys are big everywhere.
Right.
Why not go to Bulgaria and play a fucking soccer stadium? Let's do it.
I will say there's the infamous story of you guys going to LA back in the early days and stopping this could be fake, could be real, but stopping at Red Rocks.
Yeah.
Going out and saying, hey, one day we're going to play here, and then
Yes.
it was like, 5 years later, you're playing there.
Yep,
and
smoked a joint right on the stage, nobody around. It was great. It was like a little coming together. Sorry, cut you off. What you were saying?
No, you're good. no, I was just saying, like, even for me hearing that story as a kid, I think about that story all the time. It lives rent free in my head, of manifesting what you want. And and going and just having a goal and everything.
It was that for sure. We were driving to that destination, very lofty as youngsters, but we had so much help along the way. We had so much encouragement. So many, our folks were all really into letting us do what we wanted to do, since we weren't giving them much of a choice. But the fact that like Nick and Chad had already been out to LA before, that I went out when I was 17 and they were like 20, made it easier for me to go. And we were just all in. It was 100% commitment. There was no backup. There was no other plumber gig we were going to fall into.
Right.
We were going to make this work one way or the other, or die trying. You know what I mean? So the fact that we get to do shit like this still is amazing.
Nice. Final question. When the peanut comes up, I immediately start doing a little bit of a dance. Where did that kind of stage presence come from, man? That the peanut dance, I guess.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, you can't stand still. I saw enough bass players in my life, just hanging in the background, smoking a cigarette, kind of waiting for the song to be done,
right.
Looking like playing the kick drum part essentially. I just wasn't going to be that guy. I love the songs. I didn't want to be just a shredder. I didn't want to be a solo artist. I wanted to play great songs with other great musicians, hopefully. So I don't know. And then I fell in love with performing. I really did. I love moving. You can see my first performances, like a talent show that I did back in the day.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's just part of it's in me. I remember my stepdad asking me like, "What? How can you do that?" I'm like, "How can you not do that?" Right?
Right.
It's so much fun. He's like, "Oh, I just couldn't get up there and do it." And I'm like, "Well, there is like an audacity to it, but I don't know. Like, come and watch. That's what it is. Like, you'll have a good time. I'm having a good time, so there might as well be people there watching."
Awesome, man. Well, Peanut, 311, appreciate you guys hanging out with us today.
Yeah, of course.
KNOTFEST.com, new pod, all that good stuff.